If it feels harder than ever to concentrate, if your mind jumps from one thing to another, if sitting still with a single task feels strangely exhausting, you're not imagining it. But here's the part most people get wrong. We haven't lost our ability to pay attention. What's happening is actually a bit more subtle than that, and arguably more dangerous. Our attention isn't disappearing, it's being fragmented. And once you understand how attention actually works, it becomes obvious that the modern world isn't just distracting, it's structurally misaligned with how the human brain evolved to focus. See, right now there's a popular cultural narrative that says our attention spans are collapsing. You hear phrases like TikTok brain everywhere. Headlines talk about digital dementia. Commentators warn that we're becoming cognitively weaker. But that explanation is too simple. Because if attention were truly collapsing, you wouldn't be able to binge watch a series for 6 hours. You wouldn't hyper-focus on a video game. You wouldn't scroll for 90 minutes straight without noticing the time. The issue isn't that we can't focus. It's that our focus is being pulled apart. Our environment demands constant switching. Notifications interrupt us. Emails stack up. Feeds refresh endlessly. Work, news, entertainment, and social life all compete for attention, often on the same device. We're rarely doing just one thing, and the human attentional system was not built for that. To understand why this feels so exhausting, we need to understand what attention actually is. Psychologically speaking, attention is the process that allows your mind to select what matters and filter out what doesn't. It's how you decide what deserves your mental energy. And it has 3 core components. Selective attention, the ability to focus on relevant information while ignoring distractions. Sustained attention, the ability to maintain that focus over time. And inhibitory control, the ability to suppress impulses and resist irrelevant stimuli. And when those systems work well together, you can read deeply, think clearly, and stay present in conversations. But neurologically, attention isn't a single switch in the brain. It's a coordinated network. Arousal systems in the brainstem regulate alertness. The parietal cortex helps orient attention towards relevant stimuli. The prefrontal cortex, particularly executive control systems, sustain focus and suppresses distraction. It's a beautifully integrated system, but it's fragile because it evolved in environments very different from the ones that we live in now. And once you understand this, something becomes clear. The modern world isn't just full of distractions. It's engineered to compete for our attention. We now operate inside what's called the attention economy, a system where human attention is treated as a scarce commodity. Every platform you use is competing for it. Social media, streaming platforms, news outlets, even productivity apps. Your attention is now monetized, measured, optimized, A/B tested. Psychology tells us attention is limited and effortful, and that means it's valuable. And wherever something is scarce and valuable, systems will be built to extract it. And that's why the phrase TikTok brain resonates with so many people. It's not a clinical term, but it describes a real subjective experience: restlessness, novelty seeking, difficulty staying with one task, a sense that your mind wants to move on before something is finished. And that doesn't mean everyone suddenly has ADHD, but it does mean our environment is conditioning ADHD-like behavior, and nowhere is this more clear than with short-form content. Think of how a poker machine works. You press the button, most spins give you nothing. Occasionally you get a reward. That unpredictability is what keeps you playing. And short-form video operates on the same principle. You scroll past a few average clips, then suddenly one hits perfectly. The algorithm delivers exactly what your brain was craving. And that intermittent reward pattern releases dopamine. And here's the important part. Dopamine is not the neurochemical of pleasure. It's the neurochemical of pursuit. It drives you to seek the next hit. And over time, this conditions the brain to prefer novelty over depth, to prefer rapid shifts over sustained engagement. And when sustained attention weakens, it doesn't just affect productivity, it affects your capacity to think. Because deep thinking requires holding one idea in the mind long enough to examine it, to challenge it, to connect it to other ideas. And fragmented attention makes that really harder. And this isn't happening in isolation. We're also exposed to more information than any generation in history. You now carry more data in your pocket than world leaders had access to just decades ago. Information has been democratized, and that's powerful. But the cognitive cost is overload. Every notification, every headline, every opinion competes for processing space. And the brain has limits. Urbanization adds another layer. For over 200,000 years, human attention evolved in natural environments: forests, plains, open landscapes. Dense cities, artificial lighting, constant traffic noise, digital stimulation, these are extremely recent. Modern environments demand vigilance. They overload salient systems. They trigger constant scanning for relevance. Executive control, the slow, deliberate part of attention, that burns more energy and eventually it fatigues. And when that happens, attention fragments. Constant task switching strains memory. Emotional regulation weakens, stress tolerance declines, and the consequences ripple outward. Fragmented attention is associated with higher anxiety and burnout. It affects relationships. When your attention is divided, you miss subtle facial expressions, tone shifts, emotional cues. You may be physically present, but psychologically elsewhere. And over time, empathy dulls, connection thins. And in a world increasingly shaped by rapid technological change, weakened attention becomes more than a personal inconvenience. It becomes a structural vulnerability. But here's the hopeful part. Your attention hasn't vanished. It's just been overstimulated, and overstimulation can be corrected. The solution isn't to eliminate technology entirely, it's to reduce fragmentation. And one powerful strategy is single task focus blocks, periods where you deliberately commit to one task without switching. The Pomodoro Technique is a simple example. 25 minutes of uninterrupted focus, 5-minute break, and then repeat. And this isn't about productivity hacks. It's about retaining sustained attention, preserving mental energy, strengthening executive control. And the second strategy is surprisingly simple: nature. In Japan, there's a practice called forest bathing. It was developed as preventative medicine. Natural environments filled with fractal patterns, self-repeating geometric structures found in trees, rivers, coastlines. And research suggests that these patterns induce relaxed alertness and they restore depleted attentional resources. Nature doesn't demand your attention, it holds it gently. And in a world that constantly pulls your focus apart, environments that require little from you, they become restorative. This is the core insight. We are not cognitively broken. We are cognitively overloaded. Attention isn't disappearing. It's being divided into fragments too small to sustain depth. And depth matters because focus is not just about getting more done. It's about being able to think long enough to form your own ideas, to stay with discomfort instead of escaping it, to listen fully when someone speaks, to build something meaningful without being pulled away every few seconds. In a world that profits from distraction, protecting your attention becomes an act of autonomy. You don't need to surrender your mind to the loudest stimulus in the room. You can design your environment differently. And we can create moments of uninterrupted focus. We can choose when to engage and when to step back. And when we do, something shifts. Not because the world becomes quieter, but because we stop allowing it to pull us in every direction at once. Our attention has not collapsed. It has been stretched thin. And when we learn to gather it back deliberately, patiently, repeatedly, we don't just recover focus, we recover presence. And in an age built on distraction, presence may be the rarest form of freedom we have left.